Hi trainers, Sylveon has just been nerfed, the update is out, and to apply it all you have to do is restart the game. This balance hotfix was just for Sylveon, and oh boy, the nerf is pretty big for its damage. After the numbers, I will talk a bit more about Sylveon's balance, and I'd love to hear your thoughts too. Sylveon's Mystical Fire and Hyper Voice were both nerfed. These are the level 15 numbers, but the decrease percentage is the same throughout the various levels I tested, which was level 9, 10, and 15. First we have Mystical Fire. Mystical Fire before dealt damage of 3,346. Mystical Fire's first hit is the strongest on each unique target, and that initial hit was 1,651. Now for the nerfed numbers, total damage is now 2,126 damage, making it deal 1,129 damage less or 36% damage decrease. For the initial hit, it now hits for 1,049, making it deal 602 damage less. Now this is at level 15, this doesn't have any items and there's no special effects or anything in this, it's just the raw base numbers. Now for Hyper Voice. Before the nerf at level 15, Hyper Voice total damage in the inner cone was 3,602. The nerf damage is 2,890, making it deal 712 less damage or a 20% decrease. For the outer cone, which is stronger, it used to deal 6,006 damage and now it deals 4,825 damage, making it deal 1,181 damage less or again a 20% decrease. So we're seeing some huge number decreases here. Let's talk about the balance. I'm sure some of you are wondering if this makes Sylveon useless, and no, I do not think it makes Sylveon useless, but I do think these are really big nerfs to its damage. It's really hard to say where Sylveon will sit now until I've played more around with Sylveon with its new numbers. Personally for me, I didn't think it was the damage numbers too much. I mean, they were super powerful, but the cooldown of the moves were basically making it that you could just spam these moves over and over again. Like in theory, Hyper Voice was up like every 2 seconds because the cooldown started once you use the move, so you could just spam Hyper Voice constantly. And Mystical Fire was pretty much the same. You also got a cooldown reduction every time a fire hit an enemy, which I think you also had like around 2 seconds for it to come back up. Another important thing about Hyper Voice and Mystical Fire, these aren't the numbers where it will hit you and deal all that damage, it is damage over time. So every time you use Hyper Voice or Mystical Fire, all of these numbers are not going into your enemy. Sometimes you might get taken out before it ends, sometimes the enemy gets out of range, etc. So that is something to keep in mind. But again, Sylveon also has just really short cooldowns still, so you can technically just spam those moves over and over again until it just does a lot of damage to the enemies. So yeah, it's super strange. I don't think this makes Sylveon unplayable at all. I don't think this puts Sylveon in like D tier or anything like that. I do think this makes Sylveon probably easier to deal with for sure. You're not getting bursted down, at least in the mid to late game, as quickly it seems. And yeah, it should introduce more counterplay against Sylveon as well, since Sylveon, in my opinion, was really OP before. Just like the damage numbers were ridiculous, and I'm a Sylveon main, I love Sylveon, but what's important to me is that the game is fair for everyone, and I do think there are some other Pokemon that do need some nerfs too as well, like, you know, maybe Lucario, or maybe Venusaur a little bit. But yeah, I hope we see Pokemon Unite in a more balanced place soon, but it's nice that we don't have to deal with at least one other OP character, which was Sylveon. This is just my personal thoughts on the numbers. I want this to be an open discussion, so I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below. And yeah, I don't know, I'll also be playing Sylveon. I'll let you know soon more about Sylveon's balance after I've played and tested around with it a bit more. Okay, so that is all for today's video. Subscribe and click the bell for more Pokemon Unite guides, montages, numbers, and more. Liking the video would really help me out. Thank you so much for watching, trainers. Bye!